Good morning. My name is Earle Holsapple. I'm president of SciTech, and I'm joined by our chief medical officer, Dr. Brian Leyland-Jones. And we're here to talk to you about our company, its drug delivery platform, and the oncology drug that we have enabled. It's a very interesting story, and we look forward to sharing it with you. First of all, we have what is necessary in the United States, a future statement document, just speaking to the fact that we'll be talking about estimates of what might happen in the future. What is the problem that we're addressing? It's obviously cancer. Cancer is a disease that doesn't seem to go away. As a matter of fact, in parts of the world, it continues to increase. Secondly, cancer can be very destructive, not just from the disease itself, but from the therapies that are used to treat it. Billions of dollars are spent every year on the development of therapeutics and prevention drugs to address this horrible issue. But what's needed? The market needs a drug that can be applied to a multiplicity of cancer types in order to keep the cost low and to make it available for many different types of cancer, while also minimizing the toxic or side effects associated with that particular therapy. And to that point, the world needs a drug that differentiates between healthy and cancer cells in such a way that people don't have terrible side effects. SciTech has developed a nanoparticle drug delivery platform that delivers lipid-soluble drugs, or those that are hydrophobic. The ingredients in that delivery system are all previously approved by the FDA. There is very unique intellectual property associated with the design of this delivery system in terms of its composition of matter and how it works. The delivery system has been intentionally designed to deliver high therapeutic potency of drugs that heretofore have been prevented from doing so because of the water-insoluble nature of the drug. And this delivery system has been designed to be used with other hydrophobic drugs in order to enable them. SciTech's lead product is referred to as ST001, and it combines the delivery system with the drug called phenretinide that has been extensively studied over the last decades. Why is phenretinide important? Because it is extremely tolerable. It has been tested in literally thousands of patients, including 3,000 women in a breast cancer prevention study in over 40 clinical trials, and showed to have minimal side effects while showing various indications of activity. Phenretinide has been combined with the phospholipids that I said that are safe, so that we anticipate that this drug will be safe in its new formulation. Our initial study will be involving testing this drug in a phase 1 clinical trial in T-cell lymphomas, because the best efficacy data has been achieved using phenretinide with that cancer indication. Interestingly enough, this drug has also been shown to be active as an antiviral and anti-inflammatory drug in COVID-19, Zika, MERS, HIV, HPV, West Nile dengue, and Chiku viruses. So this is a very interesting new development that broadens the potential applicability of this drug. SciTech's advantages are that we have strong patent protection for this delivery system. We have orphan drug designation approval from the FDA. We have IND approval to commence the T-cell clinical trial as quickly as we raise the funding. This drug also targets a broad cross-section of cancers. Most importantly, our study is a confirmatory, not exploratory study, because the drug has been tested in so many different trials. It is expected to be a low-cost drug, affording considerable margin for the marketer of the product while keeping the cost low for use worldwide. And the time to commercialization should be very short because we have an accelerated clinical trial that benefits from the prior data that I previously talked about. How does it work? It's interesting. So the drug is in these schemes is housed between, say, the layers that you see in the left schematic, tightly compacted between the layers of phospholipids so not to expose the drug to water. It is then homogenized into a nanosphere or nanovesicle that incorporates many layers of the drug in a nanoparticle ranging between 50 and 100 nanometers. That drug is then delivered to the cancer cell intravenously. It either fuses or is absorbed with the cancer cell, leading the drug to reach the nucleus of the cancer cell, causing apoptosis or cell death. It's a very simple, unique process. It has multiple mechanisms of action. One of the more interesting characteristics, as I sort of alluded to earlier, is that it differentiates between normal and cancer cells and does not generate serious side effects to normal cells. It benefits from both retinoid and non-retinoid activity, meaning that it functions in many ways and resulting in cell death. It has multiple mechanisms of action, more than retinoic acid itself, which has been highly touted over the years as a cancer therapeutic. It also generates indirect effect on cancer cells by impacting the immune system to naturally recognize the cancer, leading to cell destruction under natural conditions. The market size is expansive. We start off with a $2 billion market. That's targeting the T-cell lymphoma and the small cell lung cancer trials that we're commencing with. Then we can jump to 5 billion. And that's really based on the fact that this drug will be applicable to a broad cross-section of cancers based on prior data. And then we jump to 25 billion based on its applicability in delivering other hydrophobic drugs. But this is all really based on the fact that these cancer indications that are shown here have been shown to respond in one manner or another to fenretinide. This is all based on preclinical and clinical data. So this is not speculation. And so if you just take the 728,000 patients in the US and multiply it times the 30,000 per patient that you saw on the previous slide, you automatically get to a market size of $25 billion. You can also cut that in half, apply it to worldwide markets, or apply the delivery capability. Its competition is minimal. There are numerous drugs under development for T-cell lymphoma, but they're very disease specific, depending on targeted therapy or immune therapy, whereas fenretinide has been shown to be effective across a broad cross-section of the cancer. So that's why it's so important relative to other drugs that are under development. The only fenretinide drug was the intravenous emulsion delivery system that it requires 24 hours to infuse. It's not particularly potent, and it generates side effects from the use of triglycerides in its delivery system. So ST001 nanophenretinide is far superior. Here's what we've done. We've gotten patent protection almost worldwide. We have patent extensions in some of the markets because the time for approval took so long. As mentioned previously, we have orphan drug designation, IND approval. We recently filed a provisional patent for the COVID-19 and virus applications, and we're about to file an IND for a COVID study. So we have done a lot on a very short, small amount of money. We're looking to raise $3 million for phase 1 or phase 1A. There are two alternatives. We have found that by testing the drug in a COVID phase 1 safety study first allows us to accelerate the development path, both time-wise and patient recruitment-wise. So we're proposing to take that approach and then skip down to a phase 1B study in oncology, and to follow that with small cell lung cancer, where we will reduce the number of patients in the phase 1A for oncology based on how many we studied in the phase 1 in COVID, i.e. the COVID opportunity allows us to save money and time to market. If we don't follow that, we have the second option to focus totally on oncology. The money in any case will be used to conduct the clinical trials, including a small cell lung cancer study not shown here, to manufacture drug, to conduct additional research, especially in enabling other hydrophobic compounds, and to scale the entire operation. The pathways are short, and I think I've described that well before, so I won't focus on it except to say that this is a confirmatory, not exploratory clinical trial. The response rates in the emulsion study were very high. We anticipate replicating them or improving upon them. Ergo, the Food and Drug Administration has given us advice on how to realize commercialization approval following phase 1B, depending on the number of patients we need to use in the phase 1B, i.e. if our response rates are very high, the 22 patients shown here will probably suffice, otherwise we will have to add patients. Phase 1B is the equivalent of a normal phase 2 historically. Our leadership team has vast experience. I've been involved in oncology product development. Dr. Parchment, the co-founder, is a senior leader at the National Cancer Institute and brings great experience. I'll let Dr. Jones describe his experience, and Andrew Stump, other key leader, is a financial executive extraordinaire. So Dr. Leyland-Jones, maybe you can summarize your history and summarize what we have said so far.
So my background is I've been in cancer drug development for over 40 years, worked for NCI, Sloan Kettering. I've run the cancer centers at Emory and at McGill, and I'm now basically in sequencing and drug development world. So there are 4 questions one asks about any company. Number 1, is the lead product safe? So as Earle said, it has been in 3,000 patients. It's also a cancer preventive agent. And so Earle, you and I can take this on a daily basis. Number 2, is there a path forwards? So this addresses a large and underserved market. IND is approved for CTCL. As Earle described, the IP is issued, and we have orphan drug status. Number 3, Is this just a one drug opportunity, or are there other opportunities? And the answer to that is very simple. We have a platform technology. The platform technology can be licensed to other pharma companies. And just a second, I had to take something off the screen. Can be licensed to other pharma companies. And number two, we have antiviral activity. So this can be used in COVID-19 and a wide variety of viruses. And then number four, what do we do in terms of valuation? So if you look at oncoimmune, that sold to Merck for about $400 million, did incredibly well, plus royalties. They simply have a drug that regulates the immune system just as our compound does. Relief Therapeutics has an agent called RLF 100. Believe it or not, their stock price after a relatively small clinical trial has gone up 38,000% in 2020. So we feel that the prospects for SciTech and ST001 are great. We look forward to answering any questions, and Earle and I are available at your own disposal. Thank you.